Let's see. So if we're awake 16 hours per day, walk to the bathroom 3% of those hours. Oh, hey, just doing some math. Be with you in a minute. Divide by pi, carry the 2 and... Holy shit. We sit on our asses quite a bit. On average, 8 to 12 hours per waking day. And guess what? For a lot of people, it's probably more. Good thing the opposite of sitting isn't associated with improving basically every piece of cellular machinery we have, right? Huh? It what? Oh. Let's go. Yo, what is up? Welcome back to another week of How to Health. My name is Kevin. I run liftinbalance.com, where we take aim at all things health and longevity and do it in an odd, weird, interesting, and highly sarcastic way. Today, I'm going to take you on a scientific journey of movement, an adventure, if you will, a tale of two studies. One displaying what moving your body can do in the short term, and the other highlighting its powers in fighting one of the most prevalent diseases of aging later in life. Both, however, having a common theme. This magical intervention only works if you do it and do it consistently. So learning to love it, moving your ass, that is the prerequisite for reaping any of its longevity prowess. At least until we have AI chips in our brains. Then it's our AI's problem. But we're not quite there yet. So let's begin. Study 1 was performed in a group of young female students with insulin resistance and varying body mass, and it was aimed to explore the effects of a 4 and 8 week moderate intensity aerobic exercise protocol on glucose metabolism, insulin resistance, lipid profiles, inflammation, and many other metabolic supporting markers. Now, in case you haven't watched any of the hundreds of videos talking about how to optimize our cellular and metabolic self on this channel, these are some of the standard metrics used to gauge one's present-day metabolic health. Not the best ones, but the standard ones, with the silent disruptor of all things cellular function being insulin resistance, a state where key cell types like the liver and skeletal muscle become insensitive to the master energy regulating hormone insulin, throwing off downstream energy metabolism, driving mitochondrial dysfunction, increasing serum glucose levels, inflammation, and a whole array of additional problems. We talk about this growing condition, of which the majority of the adult population is likely dealing with to some extent without even knowing about it, in other videos, which I will link in the show notes below, so you can listen to them on your next walk. You, see what I did there? Anyway, 28 semi-active female students were randomly assigned to either a 4-week or 8-week aerobic training intervention. And when they compared pre- and post-metabolic profiles as well as physical performance metrics, they found some very interesting things. Mainly that the significant beneficial changes in their 6-minute walk time, hand grip strength, insulin levels and insulin resistance measurements, lipid profiles, and supporting metabolic markers were only seen in the 8-week intervention group, not the 4-week one. Oh. In addition, elevated antioxidant activity was also only observed solely in the 8-week group, along with signs of improved metabolic flexibility, or the cell's ability to switch between energy substrates, like glucose and fatty acids. Ultimately, 2 hallmarks of keeping cells healthy and efficient, and thus their human beneficiaries. So, what is the moral of the story, you ask? Well, number 1, don't quit. All good things take time. And number 2, exercise is a hell of a metabolic drug. Add in the mood-boosting biochemical shift that it induces while and in the hours after you do it, and I think we could just reclassify it to a hell of a drug, period. But one that needs consistency to be effective. So save this little chat in the back of your mind for the next time you get 1 month into a new exercise routine and get discouraged because you don't see any progress. Keep going, because there is a lot happening under the Pretty Cool Meat Suit covers, most of which, at least the true good stuff, doesn't show up on the scale or mirror. Which brings us to study number 2. This one in our favorite cheese-loving friends, highlighting how this movement thing may be the secret to preventing the growing condition of late life dementia. In the case of this study, Alzheimer's, or the death of neurons in the brain, which results in the loss of one's very self. A condition which, as you know from all our other reviews, link below, has only been up and to the right in prevalence. So it's something that's probably worth deploying prevention around as early as possible. And this new study, published in the journal Brain Research, highlights how exercise may once again be the perfect prescription. Here, researchers focused in on the hippocampus, or the brain region responsible for memory and learning, measuring the impact of aerobic exercise on key Alzheimer's markers, including amyloid plaques, tau tangles, and iron accumulation in myelin-producing cells known as oligodendrocytes. And what they found was, well, motivating to say the least. Observing that rodents who completed a structured aerobic exercise protocol experienced a 63% reduction in tau tangles, a 76% reduction in amyloid plaques, and a 58% reduction in iron accumulation compared to controls, while also increasing the number of protective oligodendrocytes, reducing brain inflammation by over 50% across several markers, and improving neuronal communication pathways. Having researchers conclude that their findings suggest that exercise reduces infla-aging in the brain, or the accelerated aging, which is driven by excess inflammation and is tied to an increased risk for neurodegenerative disease. Alright, so let's pause and do a little recap here, summing up what we just heard from these two studies, while keeping in mind that mice are not in fact human, so grains of salt must be used. So in both of these studies, we saw that aerobic exercise has the power to mitigate and reverse one of the biggest metabolic conditions that we humans face, one that is at the root of so many diseases and conditions that plague the average intelligent walking ape on this beautiful floating rock, insulin resistance, and modulates neurobiology in a way which protects against one of the scariest and most devastating diseases later in life, neurodegeneration. Doing this without costing a damn dime. Only time. So, why are we spending 9+ hours of the waking day on our butts? Well, that's a good question. And although the modern ultra-processed, ultra-digital, ultra-automated, ultra-comfortable lifestyle is an easy scapegoat, I personally believe one of the big reasons that the gap exists is the fact that people don't truly understand the why and how interventions like exercise and its foundational friends of eating real whole foods, prioritizing high-quality sleep, managing stress, and getting out and about in nature impacts the biological function which is so closely linked to their daily mood, feel, cognition, and physical abilities. And yes, most understand it at a high level that these things are good and they should probably do them, but I'm talking about linking the habit to the direct biological change, like the fact that more movement is associated with improved mitochondria function, an immediate release of mood-boosting, stress-relieving bioactive compounds, less inflammation, more insulin sensitivity and metabolic flexibility, neurotrophic factors which act as brain fertilizer, higher quality muscle and bone, a more diverse microbiome, better blood flow, enhanced brain plasticity, higher quality sleep, better sex drive, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. However, the catch is, to reap these profound biological boosting benefits, it needs to be done over and over and over again for, well, life. Now, this doesn't mean intense workouts every day, but instead it's more along the lines of building a daily routine which normalizes things such as starting your day with a 15-minute morning routine, getting up for a movement break every hour, aiming for 10,000 plus steps a day, doing some form of strength training 2 to 3 times a week, getting aerobic with it, or elevating your max heart rate to over 70% a few times a week, incorporating light movement after your meals, and trying to keep your sedentary time under 8 hours per day. A routine, might I add, which will slowly get you operating more efficiently and reinforce itself. If you need some help, we walk through a number of ways to tactically deploy a movement routine in this video here. Ironically, also covering more data around how a sedentary lifestyle is slowly killing us. So yeah, it's a fun one. I'll also link a few other how-to videos displaying exercises' crazy cool biological effects, including my personal morning and workout routines, in the show notes below. Lastly, I want to remind you, especially if you've been struggling with being consistent, that for many people, including myself, the short-term suckiness of getting started, especially those first few months, often transforms into a craving for more when you finally nail down a routine that works for you. A craving which is driven by the body's self-reinforcing mechanisms or desire to operate efficiently at the cellular and metabolic levels. Because the very convenient byproduct of efficient operations happens to be feeling effing awesome. And once you experience this sensation that you've been missing out on, feeling how you're capable of feeling, the dread of working out ironically flips to excitement for working out. And that, my friends, will have you vibing like, well,
doing the bull dance, feeling the flow, working.
every damn day. So, embrace the suck and get after it.